Thank you everyone for being here. This is the next episode of our In Conversation With series. We're super excited to host Mayly Tao for our episode 4. This series really just highlights spas, businesses, entrepreneurs that we're super inspired by, and Mayly is definitely one of them. She's the owner of DK's Donuts in Santa Monica, as well as Donut Princess LA. She's the podcast host of Short and Sweet, and she's also recently featured in the new documentary, The Donut King, alongside her family. So I'm going to let Mayly join here right now. Hi, Mayly, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been really excited and looking forward to this conversation.
Tell the audience a little bit about yourself. I think I hit most of the big points, but I mean, as I said, you're so inspiring. You have so much going on.
Thank you so much. I'm a first generation Asian American born and raised here in LA. I spent a lot of my childhood in my family's donut shop. And, I grew up with immigrant parents. My parents were actually both survivors of the Khmer Rouge, which is a terrible genocide that happened in Cambodia. And they decided to pursue the American dream here in America. So, my great uncle Ted, who's behind the Donut King film, he actually pioneered this system for Cambodians to be able to start donut shops here in Los Angeles. And he basically only leased it to Cambodian Americans to give them that opportunity when they came here to America to start a new life. A little bit more about myself. I am 31 years old. I went to UCSD and studied communications. I came back and totally rebranded the store and created and, really put my own touch on everything. Like, I'm a serious foodie. I love eating. I also, enjoy a variety of other things, but I would say that I'm pretty busy being the donut princess and managing all of the different things that are on my plate. So thank you for having me.
I will say, you sent over donuts to us, and they are incredible. The box is so cute, and they're incredibly beautiful. So thank you so much for that. The Donut King was so phenomenal, and it was like such an inspiring story. As you said, pursuing the American dream. I was really touched, but also just really impressed the way that you took, the experiences you learned at college and seemed to really take them like to your family business and to bring it to the next level. That's really commendable.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, just imagine this. I mean, in LA and in other parts as well of the US, you see that neighborhood donut shop. It might not look the prettiest, it might be a little run down, but there is a huge story behind all these people who kind of look Asian behind the counter. And the fact is, they've gone through so much war, so much tragedy to be able to make it here in America. And my parents, when they had the store, they really worked really hard for about 20 years, and they started to build the store, but there wasn't like a huge variety. And that's where I wanted to bring both the quality of this like family recipe and also bring in all these different kinds of flavors, anything from hot Cheetos to bacon to Galaxy. And now we have over 120 different kinds of donuts at our store. But I think also really thinking about, we have a product, and I really wanted to bring this product to everyone and make it really easy for them to be able to get it. So we are basically, on for delivery. And I think with the pandemic hitting, people already knew that we did deliver. So it did help our business survive throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying about all the signature donuts, and it's fun, but there's more than a trend because you have that multicultural background and that really, deep rooted, sense of community. And I think that's really obvious in your business as well as, the other businesses highlighted in the documentary.
Yeah.
Has life changed since the documentary came out?
It's been really awesome to wake up to a variety of different messages that it really kind of solidifies this new passion I have, which I want to leave a legacy here. Mm-hmm. And I want to leave something, whether it be that you've had the best tasting donut or you get to learn about the Cambodian story of donut shops here in America. But I'll wake up with messages like, oh my gosh, like I finally understand what it was like for my parents to come here to America. Or, oh my gosh, my parents are immigrants, but they're Korean immigrants. And if you replace the fact that it's about a donut shop to like a laundromat, that was my childhood, and it speaks to me, and it provides a little bit of understanding and also a little bit of healing. But the Donut King film, I mean, it was basically supposed to release right when the pandemic hit. So I had my flight booked to go to Austin, and we were going to do this whole thing over there at South by Southwest. Unfortunately, South by Southwest was canceled, and a lot of other things were canceled, but we were able to really still win awards at the Bentonville Film Festival and a variety of other ones, the Hawaii one. And eventually the film was bought by Greenwich Entertainment, and now is actually for international distribution with Vice. There's a really amazing interview that they did with my mom and I. And if you guys want to see it, unfortunately it's geo-blocked. So I have this special friends and family link. So if you guys DM me, happy to share, because it just provides so much more insight of what happened to my parents and the whole immigrant journey over here, and how donut shops are adapting to these new ways of business and this new technology and thriving today.
Yeah, I saw someone ask where they can watch the documentary. I rented it on Amazon. I believe you can rent it on YouTube as well.
So you can basically rent it on Amazon Prime Now, Google Play, Apple TV. I have a link that you can watch it on your computer, and it will also support local donut shops. And you can also do it through Story Space, where I can set up a virtual screening for you and your friends. It's kind of like a movie. If it starts at 8, it starts at 8, but you can, on the side, we do chat. And if I'm available, sometimes I hop in and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's my uncle, or like, this is what this means. So, I mean, we've got to have like this new creativity, right? Like we can't go to movie theaters anymore and just like, come on, go to the movies. So there's different ways that you can watch it, but always message me and I'm happy to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a phenomenal film, but also I totally hear what you're saying, and that importance of representation is so important, and the fact that people see themselves in you and your family, it's just, you know, it's really phenomenal, and I think it's just a great step.
Yeah, and you know, growing up, like I didn't see people like me that looked like me on TV. I didn't really have a role model to look up to that was an Asian American. And I think, you know, that's the role that I really want to step into this year. You know, I've been producing more personal content. I've been sharing more about my culture, especially with the terrible, you know, hatred acts towards Asians and elderly Asians nowadays that are surfacing. I mean, it just doesn't sit right with me that it's 2021, this is still happening. And if you think about the elderly too, it's like it could be anybody's grandma or grandpa. Why is this still happening? And what can we do to bring awareness that this should not be happening anymore?
100%. It's so like more important than ever to amplify, you know, voices to drown out the hatred, and just just really, really awful. So I'm so happy that there is content being produced, you know, by you through the film, and just more to bring more stories that are, you know, inspiring and uplifting.
Yeah, and I,
A bit about the Donut Princess LA and Short and Sweet, how you've kind of worked those into the DK Donut like dynasty.
yeah, absolutely. So pretty much with Donut Princess LA, you know, with my experience at DK's, I started to create all these custom items. So custom donut letters, Texas-sized donuts, and, you know, giant Texas numbers, and really seeing that donuts were more than just donuts in a pink box. Now they were becoming an experience, and I wanted to be at the forefront of that. So we were very fortunate to be able to participate in like movie releases of big movies and big series with Fox and all these big companies like Hulu and Netflix, and that was really great. But I did see, you know, personally, whenever I think of a new product or when I think of an experience, I think of something that I myself want. So when I think about the Donut Princess brand, that's more of like a very like princess but gourmet. It's got a beautiful matte pink box. It's sealed with a ribbon. It has a handwritten card, and it's 6 beautiful donuts in a donut bouquet arrangement. And that was really to bring about this, just like, you know, you deserve something this special. Everybody has that donut lover in their life. I wanted this also to be a universal gift. It doesn't have to be just for a girl. It could be for a boy or whoever, because also guys enjoy donuts and don't get really excited about flowers.
True.
And with Short and Sweet, you know, that was actually a push from my friends, and they're like, look, you have an amazing story, you have all the experiences, why don't you share it on your own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, no, I don't really want to. I don't have much to say. But as I started to really like, dive in more and, excuse me, as I started to dive in more, I realized how much I loved it. I loved bringing on guests. I loved being able to have, my own platform where I could talk about literally anything I wanted. And so it's really about small business. It's about women entrepreneurs, women empowerment, and mindset, all of which I think is so important to running a successful business, and also with personal growth, which we all can really identify with because everybody's on a certain journey when it comes to personal growth. So short and sweet, it has been another passion of mine, like bringing on guests. And I love bringing like these golden nuggets, as I call them, where like someone shares 5 tips for an aspiring entrepreneur that, I wish that if I were starting off, somebody would have told me. So, it's really about bringing people together, sharing their stories, having my own platform, and creating my own part of representation so that people can really learn from and grow from that.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I mean, Donut Princess has such a fun contribution to, like, I'm a huge foodie, the LA food scene, but experience. I feel like most of us grew up, those of us who didn't grow up in a donut shop, it was always like a treat. Like you'd get them in the classroom when, you did something right, and it still has that same feeling of like, oh, this is something special. This is, in Donut Princess's case, it's like a really beautiful presentation. And then with short and sweet, I also hear you. I think that's awesome, and that those advice is really just reaching the people that needs the most. So I'm glad that your friends pushed you to do that. We actually
Yeah,
have,
my friends have definitely all like always believed and supported in me, and that's also why I feel like, community is so important. And if I'm ever in despair, I just turn back to my community, and they're usually always there for me as a supportive system.
I love that. That's so important, especially, as like a female entrepreneur, or just, in spaces where women have not traditionally, led the helm. It's just super essential. And you're actually featuring our founder on the podcast in March. So I'm super excited about that as well.
Yes, I'm so excited to interview her and just get her insights. From a consumer standpoint, you don't really see what the wheels and the gears are behind the team or behind the founder or the vision. And I feel like those are equally as important to share. So I'm so excited to have her as a guest on my podcast as well.
Yeah, I just love that you're, amplifying those conversations, and just, like I said, reaching the people who need it most, whether they be, an aspiring female entrepreneur who sees themselves in you, or maybe just, a casual and someone who just wants to know behind the scenes. So I love that. That's a lot going on. How do you take time for yourself with all that?
Well, I mean, self-care has been something that I have really tried to learn, and it was never really taught to me. And think about it, like my parents were immigrant hustlers. They did never took a day off in many, many years. And usually you learn self-care from, your parents, but they were definitely not that example for me. And so I learned it from my friends, learning how to take care of myself, both physically and mentally, is a big part, I feel, of how I keep going. For me, I call it sharpening the axe, you being the axe. So in order for you to sharpen the axe, you've got to take a little bit of time for yourself. And what I love to do is, like, my biggest indulgence is like taking a bath. And I'll load it up with like essential oils, bubbles, Epsom salt for soreness, and I'll play some 432 HC sound healing music, and I'll just vibe out in there. I mean, sometimes I'm checking emails in there, but you've got to kind of balance it out. I also have a really like intense regimen for my skin, and that's one of the reasons why I was super excited to try Kana, is because I was looking for like a new essence and a new toner and a new serum. So I got to really experience that. But what the self-care for my face and for my body does for me is it's about like a 10-minute type of thing, but it's so important for me to kind of take care of my skin, take care of the things that, if I'm on camera, like I want to be sure like I'm taking care of my skin. And even like as I get older, I'm not that young anymore. So I need to basically take the precautions and do preventative things. And then mentally, I've started to do this thing with my roommate. We call it our morning ritual. And from 8 to 10, if we don't have anything else to do, at 8 o'clock, we'll drink matcha, we'll set intentions, and we'll scrum, which scrum is basically asking somebody what they did yesterday, what they're going to do today, and what obstacles or blockers that they have. And then we journal after. So for that first hour, we're literally spending time with ourselves, spending time with our thoughts, bouncing ideas off of each other, and we meditate for 10 minutes or do breath work. Oh, wow. And I found that has done so much to ground me and to really get, your mind is filled with thoughts. The thoughts will never stop, but what you can do is how you intercept and how you're aware of those thoughts, and that has really helped. And then from 9 to 10, we do content hour, where we spend an hour with ourselves and work on our own personal content. I think for both of us, we manage a lot of branding and content for the brands that we work for or own, but how often do you take time for yourself to really dive in and think about, what can I share from my experience that will help others? And I'm all about impacting other people. And if I can impact someone with sharing a little bit about myself, I mean, that also does wonders for my mindset as well.
Yeah, I absolutely hear you. I feel like the common theme is like intentionally taking time for yourself, even when it does feel selfish at times, but as you're an example that it shows that it, like, it gives back to the people around you. It gives back to, your businesses. So I like that, sharpening the axe, because it's true. Like, you got to take care of yourself in order to like take care of the people around you and the things that you need to take care of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as far as the skincare, I mean, that's a big part of what, Kana Skincare stands for, is that, self-care, taking the spa at home, especially, now more than ever. Do you mind talking a little bit about the products that, or the product that you like?
Oh my gosh. So I had the Cbd Essence Toner, which I didn't know that the two could be combined in one, but it's like a milky kind of concoction. And what I love about toner is it kind of like takes the dirt off your skin, but this one also has a moisturizing function, and it's amazing. I love that. And then I think my favorite though was the CBD sleeping mask. And I remember at the beginning of my self-care regimen search, I was looking for something that I could fall asleep with and it be moisturized. And everything I kind of tried, it was like too thin or too thick, like confused about like a gel or like a cream. Like that kind of still confuses me, but I feel like it's all about like exploring and trying to figure it out. And so that's my favorite, actually, because I'll put it on and it's like butter on my face, but then it, like, when I wake up, it's still moisturized. And even after using it just for a few days, I've really noticed, like, wow, my skin is like, it feels like it just drank like a cup of water, and it's like nice and glowing, versus when I wake up sometimes it's dry. And also after applying the CBD sleeping mask, which is like the second to last step, like before eye cream, and it just makes me feel like I'm like giving my face a hug, like, good night, like, you deserve this, like, go to sleep now and then get ready for the next day. So that's how I feel after using the Kana products. And like, I'm definitely like a fan. Like, I can't wait to tell my friends about like this amazing feeling. And sometimes what we do when we gather is like we share like our beauty products. So I can't wait to be like, so let me show you this thing that I have.
Yeah, our lavender sleeping mask is such a cult favorite for that exact kind of reason. It has that lavender, no added fragrance, but just the aromatherapy, which it kind of contributes to the mental, the mental self-care as well, where it's, this is time for sleep, this is time for relaxing, and taking time for my skin. Nothing else is important right now. And it really, that's definitely a standout, especially if you have more dry or sensitive skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's super exciting to hear. I mean, what is then, do you have anything exciting going on right now besides, of course, all of the Donut King promotions? Anything you want to kind of plug?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's like, what's not going on at the moment? There's a million things, besides like trying to arrange these socially distant gatherings and events. You know, we're doing a bar mitzvah where it's a drive-through, and like trying to really like find ways that donuts can help the community. That's something that I've always been up to. I'm currently, like I said, working on personal content. So I have a YouTube channel where I hope to share and document via vlog style, you know, my experiences of being a donut princess, but also being an Asian American, also being someone who's on this journey of mindset, and really just sharing that growth and sharing the experience so we can all do that together. And I'm just currently also working on this thing called Dichu Daily. So my background is Chinese, Cambodian, and Thai. And unfortunately, what happened to the Dichu people is that there was a huge diaspora. So my grandparents ended up actually going from the south of China to Cambodia to America. So it's pretty much definitely like a super nomadic immigrant story. But because of that, and a lot of people in my generation have really lost the language. And I was really thinking, how can I really leave something that I'm very familiar with for people like before I'm gone, or, you know, for the next generation. And I was like, oh, like, why don't I do a daily word of Dichu and make it on mediums that are more applicable for younger generations like TikTok or Instagram.
Wow.
So I'm happy to report that I created the hashtag Dichu Daily, and I hit 10,000 like views on it today, which was amazing. And it just means that people are really enjoying it, and it keeps pushing me to do more. So definitely check those out. I'm hoping one day that we get to bring the Donut King film to theaters. It was in Santa Ana, but then it got shut down again. So I'm hoping with the whole pandemic that there will be other ways that people can watch the film and gather and enjoy a box of donuts together. But I would say just, you know, keep going and supporting your local small businesses. It's really important to do so because they definitely need your help. Every little thing helps right now.
Yeah.
And I really hope that, you know, I can contribute to people in the way that like others have contributed to me. I'm going to continue doing things for the community, both for the healthcare professionals. So with Lunchboxes for Love, that's still going on. It's basically this initiative that my friend Monica and I put together, where we basically had deliveries to all these healthcare professionals of donuts, sandwiches, and coffee to boost their morale, and that's still happening. And, you know, we also give donuts out to the homeless. We work with organizations to do so. But I mean, yeah, I mean, just follow my journey, and like anything is really, really helpful. I feel that support is like the biggest thing. Like it's like, again, like a really big hug from people that I know and people that I don't know. And it really helps me to keep going when I know I have that support right behind me. But yeah, I thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's just the theme of giving back, and you've, you know, contributed so much, and you continue to contribute so much, and we're just like so, you know, honored that you took the time away from your very busy day to just like, you know, discuss and give back really once again. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Hope you have a good day.
Thank you again for the donuts.
Of course. Which one was your favorite?
I really like the taro one. It was very simple, but it was really good.
Yeah, we definitely have like the sweet stuff and the not too sweet stuff. And if like a pro tip is like, if you have an air fryer at home, like pop it in for like 2 minutes and it'll taste like fresh out of the oven.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm definitely will be stopping by again. If you're in the Santa Monica area, definitely come by DK's Donuts. And of course, you're on the DK's Donuts handle. So anyone who's interested can look at that and find out more about Donut Princess and then Mayly. Thank you so much again.
Thanks again. Hope you have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.